homeless on the other team. Good news is Tim's pretty terrible this game, so that's the truth.
Very proud. They played a very sharp, very on top of their game Eclipse today, and really excelled at nailing, unfortunately, 07. When they gave him that little bit of breathing room, he took it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Community WGLNA show. Yes, I am streaming for once, and Ted is here too, and we're both not sick, and I'm wearing a tie. So there is that.
Yes.
We got a lot of exciting stuff going on this week.
A lot.
And
a lot of stuff going on. We'll start off with not only you guys getting our normal show, but it's being streamed, so that's one special thing. Thanks, Tim. But we have another special thing because we're going to have another whole 4-match day this coming Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, we have a Saturday match. I mean, I feel sorry for people like me who have to, work on Saturday.
Well, Saturday's one of my few days off ever. So it's just every other Saturday, it's just try to do something fun. But I'm looking forward to this Saturday, primarily because we have 4 matches coming up. We're going to hit on those before we leave, simply because after tonight, Tim and I are both really busy. Either I'm working or he's working or we're both sleeping. It's just our schedules conflict because we're both kind of busy. We have a lot of projects in our hands right now on top of work. But what's more important than that is we're going to make sure that it's covered, though, to make some suggestions for fantasy. We're going to go over how fantasy is going to be different for every 2-match day from now on. So the only exception coming up is Saturday, and then we're going to be going to this 2-match day thing with fantasy, which I think is going to be really interesting, and also to some of the rules with it.
Interesting is, I think, quite a bit of an understatement in this case.
It is. It's fascinating. It's really pretty interesting, I think. Now, that being said, let's leap into our first match on Tuesday. Tim.
You mean Thursday? Today.
No. Oh, no. We're going to start on what happened on Tuesday.
Good.
Because
where's my mind? It's apparently
it's all good.
Apparently on the internet somewhere.
At one point, it was 3-2 with Eclipse leading the last time they played. And what happened last time, this is earlier in the season, on match day 2, is Apex equalized it out at 3-3 and then ended up finishing up with some tight matches 5-3. Instead, this was the second match on Cliffs, and it was, again, a really tight everyone thought it would be a tight match. Do you remember this match, Tim?
Oh, I remember this match. Do I ever?
This is a 1:35 match.
Man, it was fascinating, to say the least. All these matches were on the edge of your type
They were. This is the one that Comps point to that. He said everyone lost their mind and everyone played. I won't use the term that he used, but they were less than up to the snuff of what Apex could do. If you watch the match, and trust me, if you have a spare 2 minutes, you can watch the match. They ended up by the donut. They ended up on close to the 3 line, I believe, by the donut on mines, and with Apex on defense, and they ran right into Eclipse surging up that hill, that little hillock out of the donut right there, and they stopped. Some of Apex stopped. They didn't push through. It was like someone hit a reset button, and they got absolutely cut to pieces. There was 2 or 3 tanks that made it clear after they dumped their clip, but it got ugly quickly, and suddenly it's 4-2 for Eclipse.
You said those on mines?
Yeah. No. Sorry, this is Cliff.
Yes.
This is Cliff by the donut and everything.
You hit me for a second. I'm like, they didn't play mines.
No.
Yes.
Tim, what were you thinking when Eclipse was up 4-2?
I can't believe this is happening. I was confident that Eclipse could take hey Slow. I was confident that Eclipse could take this over Apex, but I was definitely not expecting a 4-2 lead.
No one was.
Nobody was.
And
I mean, the Super Bowl just happened on Sunday. This is not.
Yes.
It's not time for another sports amazing thing to happen.
Yeah. When you're looking at this match, and I've had some friends ask me, how to break it down and how to look at it. It's at that point, as soon as it's up 4-2, how did they react? What was going on with Apex? What Apex did right away was call a timeout, which is exactly what they needed to do. They called a timeout, They got prepped, they got ready, and then the next map. If you're looking at maps and everything, you had Cliff, and then they went into Muravanka. Now, we were talking about this, and you hear the casters talking about it. Muravanka is a 60% win rate, over 60% win rate for defenders, and
Yes.
Apex was on the defense, so the odds suddenly went in their favor. And I don't know how that mentally played out and I don't really think it probably would have affected Compson crew because they're just they're a professional team. They've all been there, done that sort of thing. And sure enough, Apex wins that one. But then the shoe goes on the other foot. Now Apex is on the attack versus Eclipse, and you're suddenly going, oh boy, what's going to happen here? How is this going to end up working out? And what ended up happening is if you watch this, there's some teams that know how to turn the screw like a vice.
Right.
They get in a position and they find another position. They get in a position, they find another position. And then they something happens that gives them that little bit of luck or a little bit of that moment where everything that they needed just unfolds. Well, you had, I believe it was Dodoma near the South Cap, and literally less than a square away in the bushes, I believe it was No Nick. I could be wrong, but No Nick was sitting in there, just being a tripwire, if you will. I take that back. It wasn't. It was Dark God Zim and the Oods who was right there. And suddenly he was spotted. The minute he was spotted, Dodoma went out and killed him. Other people killed him. It was a good dump, and then they moved to the next position. So they kept improving their positions until they were able to go for it. I mean, they started capping. The Eclipse started to maneuver so they could cover the cap. The minute they split, you saw the push from Apex. It's not what I would call any regular strategy, just a very persistent, very strong, and very specific. It's like it had an order. This is A to B, B to C, C to D. And once they had it locked in, it was Eclipse had to break this vice, if you will, that was being put around them. And then by the time they began to try to move, it was Apex was playing so well. They only lost Ox in this match, and that was after he got 65 points, doing 2,700 damage in the Krav Noggin. That's awesome. I mean, he's had a great game there. He goes down, but he's the only one, and that sends us to the playoffs. Not the playoffs, to sudden death. Right. I really felt watching the plays and watching what was going on within the plays that Apex, the minute they won that first match on Muravanka on the defense, they were going to push us. They were so confident and so ready for the match that it was going to go to Cliff, which was the Battle 9, which is the tiebreaker. And considering that they got swept twice on Cliffs, I think everyone was probably on the edge of their seat wondering what would happen here. Well, again, positioning. And in the end, Apex wins it. And it was just kind of, these teams are very tight. They know each other incredibly well. I mean, right. They know each other incredibly well, but Apex picks up 2 points. They remain undefeated. Eclipse picks up 8 points. And at this point, everyone thought Dare's going to jump into second place because they're taking on top tier. If they beat top tier, they'll be 2 points ahead of Eclipse. I mean, you could hear the community thinking that out loud. I know I did, Tim. Did you think that?
Oh, man. Did I ever?
Because you have these strong teams out there, and this is not at all a knock on top tier, but this is sort of why you shouldn't look at it on the paper and just assume that's going to happen. But our next match was Aquatic M60s versus Rival Simple Tankers. Aquatic's on a roll. They were 3-0 going to this match, and then they became 4-0. They're playing so well. They're doing the opposite of what they did last season, which is they struggled in the second half after having a great first half. Well, they struggled in the first half, and now their second half, 4 wins in a row. And we're going to talk about this when we talk about the matches. If they get the fifth, that'll be awesome.
That'll be fantastic.
It'll be very amazing, too, but we'll get to that. But Rival Simple Tankers continues to take teams long, because if you look at the times for the matches, these weren't stomps. These were long slot-off battles. And I heard that some of it was some RNG issues and some of it was some luck, but still, Rival needs to find a way. They just need to find a way to get a win. Right now, they need at least 4 wins, realistically 5 wins. So they need to win all the remaining games if they want a shot at the playoffs. Is that realistic? Probably not.
Yeah.
But this is the facts. They need to realistically win in their last 5 games to have a shot. This is going to be very difficult. And we'll get into that when we talk about the matches coming up tonight as well as on Saturday. Then we had 07 versus Valence. And like everyone else, I thought, well, 07 will rack up the win. This will stop some of they'd lost recently, and this will help them out and everything. Well, guess what, Tim?
Uh-oh.
Valence got their groove back.
Oh man.
Valence is a team that is chock full of strong players, similar to Dare Rising,
Right.
similar to Top Tier. I mean, they're a team that has tons of potential with former champions and everything like that. They did some personnel moving around, but more importantly than that, they found a way, and to me, that's huge. They were down 3-1 against 07, and they came back and won it.
So
Fair play to them.
I'm looking at the battles here. 07 won on Mines. Then they. Well, I'm wondering. I'm curious now. Maps for Mines. It appears to me, at least, that it's always the attackers.
Well, this is actually the opposite than last season, and I think most of the time is because it's a more friendly to a defending player than it is to the attacker. But what's happening is you're seeing different moves, different sweeps, different rotations. Teams are getting more comfortable with defending or fighting off the boosts on the east side. You know, those two big boost moves that you see teams pull a lot. Well, teams are starting to go, okay, this is what we do to counter that. This is how we do this.
Well, here's the thing. 07 is great. Has played 7 battles on Mines, and they've won 71%. Aquatic M60s has won all 3 battles they've played on Mines. Dare has won only 40% of the 5 battles they've played on Mines, and Valence has played 6 battles on Mines, but they've only won 16. They've only won 16.67%. In other, these are attacking. And then the defending are not as glorious. So it seems to be, at least to me, an attacker's map, where the attacker has the.
Well, we'll be able to look that up, and we'll see if the announcers talk about it tonight. Hopefully they will. But when you're looking at the scores, you had Battle 1, they split Mines, so that gave Valence a win. But then Cliffs were taken both by 07, and then on Steps, Valence came back.
Yep.
Which is huge. They won there, then they won again, so they swept Steps, and they took Grunberg with an ace, which is not an easy thing to do. Their lineup was a Grill 15, 113, TVP, 2 bat chats, a 50B, and an RE2151, so very mobile, with that big punch of a grill in the background too.
Also, a lot of
I think it's
autoloaders.
fascinating.
There's 4 autoloaders on that one.
Well, yes, 4 autoloaders, but this is a map we've seen 7 autoloaders before.
Right.
So, but if 07 was playing a bat chat 50B, FE215B, T49, another 215B, a CES tank, and a 113. So a decent looking counter to me, in my eyes anyway. But the map that's really got me interested, and I'm trying to get more information on it, is Runeberg. The last battle, it was on match 8. It was an attack. Ledif was left in a Grill 15. Makos was left in a bat chat. And in a Kravnoggin, Zoden Delta somehow found a way to stay alive and win by running the clock out. So
wow.
That, to me, shows that as well as they're playing, as Valence played, they also played intelligently. They kept an eye on the clock. They probably coached him where to go. And also, if you want someone running away who's going to know every single map and every single detail, Zone's a pretty good guy.
Yes.
Zone and Urtai have a history of being able to do this sort of thing. So, but a big win. This is so critically important right now. Now, we'll go over how everyone sits once we get done with our last match. But I think this is really important to Valence. This gets him back in the playoff hunt aggressively. This hurts 07 because it suddenly puts him in a position. And again, we'll talk about this once we get done with this match day that we're covering right now. But oh man, it was such a good match. One that we didn't get to see, but congrats to Valence, well earned. And 07, they're not going to give up. So this is going to be as it roll on. But let's move on to the next game. We have Dare Rising versus Top Tier. You think Top Tier was ready, Tim?
The funny thing is, I predicted Dare would take. Didn't I? Didn't I predict?
You thought Dare would win 5-1.
Wow, was I ever wrong?
Yep. And do you remember what I said?
No, I don't.
5-4 for Dare Rising. Because one thing we forget is every single week Top Tier's been improving, similar to Aquatic M60s. But unlike on Aquatic M60s, Top Tier has lost a overtime match to Eclipse. We have to keep that in mind. That's not an easy thing to do, to run Eclipse to overtime.
No.
So Top Tier is a really dangerous team. And Dare won the first match on Runeberg. There was some really interesting strats on that one because they took a 50B, they emptied its clip, they turned it on its side, and they pushed it for a barricade. And the reason they emptied the clip is so there couldn't be any Amaraks. So, which
that's
makes sense.
an interesting point. You can't. Yeah. You can
So
still Emmerich and MX50B on its side. I've seen that happen.
Yep. So they flipped it over and they pushed it, and it was working. I mean, it was Chase Potato was dead, but at the same time, they were getting close. But this is on the North Cap. Rude Awakening had found a bush, and he wasn't spotted in his RU. He kept getting shots in the side of the I-7, which Putin was in, and it was like I thought for a minute, this is a really good move by Top Tier because they were spoiling the attack. They were sitting up pretty well. Well, what ended up happening is Dare shifted and were able to wipe out the rest of the team. So they went from saying, we're not going to worry on the cap, and they managed to shift over and get the win. And it was really intelligent because I thought they were in deep trouble because of Rude Awakening's position. But things happen. And I'm sorry, Rude was in a 1390 not in, which is probably even more effective. But then on the second match on Runeberg on attack, and again, this is a more defensive map, Top Tier found a way, and they were efficient, effective, and it worked out great. Then I believe they got that was well played. Then we moved to Himmelsdorf, and Himmelsdorf was interesting because they were able to cap out Top Tier was, and it was just a battle of movement. And I think Dare was timing might have been off a little bit. I'm not 100%.
I was noticing that
they seemed
a little bit disconnected in that match. Like they weren't all on the same page, at least to me.
So that made it 2-1, and everyone's like, "Okay, it's Dare. Don't worry about it. They'll get it in Battle 4 because they'll be Dare's good on the attack." No, it was timed out. Milo Putin ended the match with just under 3,400 points. So he had a great game, but he was sitting on the hill. But again, fantastic play by Top Tier. Really smart, interesting play. Also, what happened on Himmelsdorf too, and I really want to point this out, is they Top Tier didn't stop. You know how the attacking team sets up in the southeast corner? They turned right, went up that hill, went over the hill, went down, and then went down the far north road, if you will, down the one line. And they took out E4. Aggressor got blown up in a, I think it was a, he was
Aggressor was,
big.
Aggressor was in a 1-1-3.
IS4, yeah.
It was in
he got Amarax
1-1-3.
by Rude, and Rude was in a T10. So it was like, great shot by Rude. That probably drove Aggressor up a wall. And suddenly they started capping early, and it was just a smart move. Go back and watch this match. You can do it on YouTube. It was just a really unique, strong thing. And one of the strengths of Top Tier, we've talked about it before, is the strategies that Rude Awakening comes up with.
Yes.
He's a very strong player, but he's also a very one of the best strats masters, if you will, in the league. So they won that one on Himmelsdorf, then they took it up, and suddenly it's 3-1. And everyone starts asking questions. You can hear folks. I don't know if you saw any in the chat, but they're starting to make fun of Dare, which is a mistake because you shouldn't make fun of any teams here.
Yeah,
I know. I don't like that because it's disrespectful. Primarily because this is a very good team, and I don't doubt any team that's got Mactep, Putin, or Aggressor on it, let alone last year's MVP. So then we move over to Proc. Now Proc has been a split match for both teams, but I think Top Tier. I know for a fact Rude loves Prokhorovka. He loves the map. He loves the way it's set up and everything like that. And you could tell because he managed to get the kill or get the win on the first one to setting it to match point. Okay, what do we mean by match point? What we mean is it's 4-1, so one more win takes it. What happens is Aggressor on the defense manages to survive. He got 91 points in this game. So that's how effective it was. He was in 2,500 points, and this is Battle 6. This is the match point, and it brings it back to 4-2. And at that point, a lot of people are like, can they come back? We just saw earlier teams can come back, such as Apex.
Yes.
And they're, I'm sure when this started happening, Eclipse was very happy and thrilled the Top Tier was deciding to really play well this night. And this wasn't a case, I think, of Dare struggling with things. I think it was more the fact that Top Tier has been subtly improving throughout the season. And in the end, after Battle 7 on Mines, it's a win for Top Tier. And afterwards, Pampa said something really interesting. He said, the beginning of the season, Rude Awakening said that it's like having a video game character, if you will, like an MMO character, and they were at level 1, and now they're like level 5 or 6 since they have, and they're improving. And I thought that was a good analogy because I see that as well. Every week they're getting better. They've gotten hammered by the big teams, but they've constantly worked well. And by big teams, I should say Apex, because they were this close to taking Eclipse. So suddenly we have Eclipse in second place by picking up a point. Dare Rising, and because if we look at the standings right now and look at where everything is, Rival Simple Tankers is currently in 8th place, last place. They have 0 points. Valence is on 8 points, and they're in 7th place. What I mean by 7th place, because their next team up is 07, and they're on 12 points, which means tonight is a head-to-head battle. So if Valence can win tonight, they're denying 07 a chance of getting any points. So they have their own future in their hands. Valence picks up the win.
Valence isn't playing tonight.
Not Valence tonight. But if Valence, it's 07 versus top tier, correct? Yeah. And so if 07 loses tonight, Valence can just be 1 point off of them. Top tier, 07 Gaming needs a win tonight because they're the ones. This is what I meant. Since they're facing top tier, they win. They go past them.
Yes.
And that's huge. Now, top tier is probably looking at Aquatic M60s in 3rd place, are tied for 3rd place right now, wants to get past them. Because remember, the playoff spots start in 6th. Because 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd will play in the playoffs. 1st and 2nd get buys. So when we're examining this, when we're looking in depth at this, the importance of not being in that 6th spot, because you could end up playing, I don't know, Eclipse, Aquatic M60s. You don't want to end up playing a team that's like that out of the bat, because it makes your challenge even greater. Whereas if you're playing, the 4th and 5th team, that's a bit more competitive, I would say, historically speaking as well. But when we're looking at all the teams here, top tier is on 13 points right now. Aquatic M60s is on 16. So top tier definitely wants to climb up. Aquatic M60s is tied with Dare Rising right now for 3rd. Eclipse is on 17. And Apex is now on 26 points. So if you look the proper way, Eclipse is on 17. Dare Rising and Aquatic M60s are on 16. Top tier is on 13. The difference between 2nd place and even 6th place right now is only 5 points.
Yes.
So that's 2 matches. Now, that means right now, I believe all the teams still have 5 matches left, Tim?
Yes.
And with 5 matches left, that means that 5 points can shift really quickly. One team has a bad day and everything like that. So we have multiple races. We have the race for the last playoff spot. I'd say probably between top tier 07 Gaming and Valence as of right now. And then you have the race for 2nd place, which I still think is a viable race, with Eclipse, Dare Rising, and Aquatic M60s being the ones racing it out for that. So guys, it's going to be very exciting. I'm already fairly excited. Yeah. But Tim, for the matches tonight, could you tell us who the matches are?
We have top tier versus 07 Gaming, and that's at 7:30. 7:30 Central Time. And 5:30 Pacific?
Yep.
And at 8:30, 1 hour later. So we have a little bit of a brief intermission, depends on how long that match goes. Then we have Aquatic M60s versus Apex.
So the way it's going to work now, and I'm reading straight from the site, for all match days with just 2 matches, you can pick a maximum of 4 players per from each team rather than just 2. Which essentially means that you can pick 4 players for top tier, and 4 players for 07, or 4 players for. You got to end up with 7 players, but you're not stuck with just 2 players from one team now. You're stuck with 4. So Tim, who are you going to be picking out of this first match?
That's tough. When you go between 07 Gaming, who's in fifth place right now, and top tier, who's in 4th, I have to go with top tier at the moment. They are really showing. They're really showing their strength. This is also the match that has like the greater potential to go longer. So since we get to pick 4 players per was it 4 players per team?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be going with 3 players from top tier and a player from 07 Gaming.
Okay. Now, Sharp, that leaves Tim 3 players left to choose for the next one. I'm looking at probably picking up Ledif because I think he'll have a good game regardless. And then for top tier, you get some interesting choices here. I think Muriel is not a bad choice.
It's one of
I
my
think
picks.
exits might be a good choice too, and Delph might be a very strong choice. However, Pompous and Alkaku have had big game days. And now you're saying, Ted, you just named 4 guys, which one should I choose? Well, you can choose all of them, which is kind of cool. Also, something to keep in mind as far as damage done in matches. If X Soldier's playing, there's a very good chance he'll have a good game. He's averaging 45.2 points per match, which if it only goes 5 matches is 230 some odd points, which isn't bad. However, I think he might be a sleeper pick for folks. Only 3.6% of people are picking him because in the past he's been rotated out. I think he's earned a spot. I think between Fixer Reloaded and him have been playing the same. Fixer hasn't been getting the same player time lately, and I think that's because X Soldier's really been excelling right now and really playing well.
Right.
That being said, I haven't heard anything about who's not playing or who's playing yet.
Only one I know is only roster change or roster not show up I know of is for Saturday, and that's on
Metro's not going to be
right,
around on Saturday.
Yep,
so,
yep.
But the other thing to look at is if you like 07 in this match, who should you pick? Makos is a good choice. Warbanner is a good choice. Andapans has had some good games. Major Issues, when he plays, has had some really strong matches too. So look at those guys if you think that this will be 07's night. Now you have Aquatic M60s versus Apex. There's 2 different ways it can happen. This can happen. And I know it might seem simple between long and short, but if Aquatic M60s wins the first match, that's going to build their confidence. They're already fairly confident. I think this could go 5-3. If it goes 5-3, it'd be good to invest in this match and put players in here. Now, I'm definitely going to put Ox because he's been pretty good for me for the most part. I'm okay with that. I'd probably go Ox, Scott Emperor, Brett. External's been shooting up pretty quickly too. More so than Canadian Impact because just positioning wise, Canadian Impact has been playing a lot of heavy tanks lately and a lot of defensive heavy tanks. So his role has changed a bit than in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. Also, Nitz is still playing well. You have plenty of choices here. I'm probably going to go Brett, Ox, and possibly one other from this team for this match, just because I think it might go a little bit longer. And if not, they're going to get me at least 250 points, more than likely.
I'm taking Ox and External.
Okay.
Ox because of course you gotta take Ox. I'm picking External over Brett and Canadian, simply because less people are tending to pick External, and
you're looking to overtake people, right, Tim?
Right.
And
I want that 20 points difference between the two. That might happen tonight. Might.
Very true. On the other side, you have some strong picks. If you think it's going to go longer, you have Mr. Man, you have Dark Ninja, you have Bales. Those are 3 really strong picks. This could be Veggie's night. Don't forget, he's had some good matches too. But just keep in mind what's going on. This will probably either be a 5-1 or a 5-3.
Right.
Again, this is supposition. This is us predicting. We're often wrong, as Tim was wrong on Tuesday. But when we're looking at how they're going to be coming out, I really feel that Aquatic M60s after 4-0, if they practice, if they get the strats ready, they could push Apex. By push, if they win, it would be a surprise to everybody, myself included. But you don't know until you try. And this would be a massive win for them. It would put them in a really strong position. If you look at the rankings right now,
if Aquatic won, they'd go in first. Well, not in the rankings, but yeah, effectively.
Well, they jump up to 19 points, and with Eclipse not playing tonight, that would put them ahead of Eclipse, second place. I don't think anyone's going to catch Apex. I really don't. I can't see them dropping 9 points. In the case of Aquatic, actually 10 points difference. So I can't see them dropping that much. I can see them dropping a match, but I see very tiny chance. But as we say a lot of WGLNA, anything can happen.
Anything.
So I'm probably, those are what we're talking about for picks. I'll probably drop mine around 4 o'clock today, so you guys can all see who I'm going to be picking.
I can reveal. I'll reveal mine now. I have Dolph and Muriel and Okaku from top tier. I have Ox Mathis and External from Apex, Ledif from 07, and Master Man from Aquatic M60s.
Good picks, solid picks from Tim there. And I think we're going to move forward now to Saturday because unfortunately we don't have time in our lives, unfortunately, to be able to properly cover Saturday the way we have in the past. When we're looking at Saturday's matches, you have Rival versus Dare. Again, barring Dare suddenly exploding and finding a bunch of wins that I don't know are there, that gives Dare 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to help stabilize them because I think they took that hit pretty seriously because they lost on Tuesday, and then they also they beat 07 on the previous Thursday, but previous to that they'd lost to Aquatic not too long ago. So there's and they got actually crushed by Apex, which never helps anybody. But Dare gets 3 points. That'll help them out. Valence versus top tier. What do you think of this match, Sam?
That's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna say top tier, but man, Valence came back in a way that nobody can really ignore.
Yep. And these are a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, folks. Because if 07 loses tonight, and Valence can win, that would drag them even closer. But again, you got to look at the odds. I'm probably going to go with top tier over Valence just based on playstyles right now. That doesn't mean Valence can't win, but I'm probably 60% for top tier right now. Just based on the way that they're playing right now, their level of consistency, their strengths, and the strats. The strats are just fun to watch as a fan. Then you have Aquatic M60s versus Eclipse. This will be tight.
Yes.
Depending on how Aquatic does tonight, if Aquatic draws it out to 8 matches or 9, even 9 matches, they're going to go into Saturday's matches fairly confident.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past, they've knocked off Eclipse, so why not now? This is a match that's awesome. It's not going to be broadcast, but if you want up to date what's going on, be sure to tune in. You'll let you know, and the mods will let you know as soon as they have information. Now, I'm probably going to go on this match. I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to go 5-3 for Aquatic M60s. And the reason I'm going to go with this because of their consistency of play. They've been nailing their shots. They've been getting some really strong baits out. They've been baiting their baits, which is awesome. It's something that SCCIS teams do at times, and it's paying off for them. It's not that Eclipse isn't a strong team, but we have to see they're coming off the defeat against Apex, how they're going to react. And every team you have to look at what happens when you're in a rival match, if you will, after you lose.
Right.
So, Tim, what do you think this match will be score-wise?
Well, you know me. I'm going with Eclipse. It's going to be a 5-4 in favor of Eclipse. Yeah, Aquatic might come off good from the Apex match, or they might get beaten down, and Eclipse is like, oh, fresh meat. Let's go.
Very true. And I like your logic. Now, here's another question for you. Do you think Master People not playing right now is an error? Do you think he should be back in the rotation, or do you think that they should keep doing what they're doing at the moment?
I'm
putting Tim on the spot here, folks.
That really is not my call. That's
well, no, from a fan's perspective, because that's all we are, guys. We're
right.
Community fans. We're I write some articles. Tim's manages the show. That's kind of what we do, but we're not. Do you think that could? Let me rephrase the question. Make it easier. Do you think that could be playing into the current results right now? Not having Master People.
That could be.
We'll make it a supposition rather than a straight out flat yes or no question.
You're right. That could be. That could very well be playing into the because we've heard him. We've heard the Eclipse speak while they're in matches. He is a morale booster, and he the let's go boys at the I think we all remember when they took down what team was that Aquatic M60s at the end of it was near the end of last season, where he provides a sort of unity and high morale to the team. But
he's a very strong player as well.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on, why he's not starting. Maybe they found this is the better rotation. It works well. Tigers is now the caller, so maybe he wanted to shift things around and see how it would work. They came so close to beating Apex. I mean, that cannot be. You cannot at all knock that. That's impressive. To capital impressive. It's great, but I think this could be the moment for Aquatic M60s to knock off Eclipse. Now, the next match we have on Saturday, which is scheduled for broadcast, it's 07 versus Apex.
Right.
Now, before everyone writes off 07,
Mm-hmm.
let's look at how they play tonight. Because if they're stiff and strong and solid, they're going to train their butts off in the 48 hours between the matches. They'll be ready. If they get hammered, we have to start making inferences, and I hate making inferences. But one of the things about this league is consistency, and that's not always a good thing. Because if you're struggling, you're consistently struggling sometimes, which is horrible. I have tremendous respect for everybody on 07. Good friends with Meadow. Everyone on that team, Foster, everyone on the team is solid and great guys. But we have to look at what's going on right now, and 07 needs to make sure to find a way to win tonight against top tier and give Apex a challenge. They can't. There's a concept that I've heard people talk about that one should just roll over when you face Apex. It's counterintuitive to me.
Yes.
You don't know they're the best team until you test them, until you push them and see what they do. We want the best team to come out of North America for the grand final. And
The best
I
two
honestly
teams to come out of North America
Yes.
for the grand final.
Absolutely, but I think the best team that we have right now is Apex. I want to see them pressed. I want to see them struggle. I want to see them demonstrate that they deserve, no, they demand to be in that final. And we need teams to push them. And if any team that I think could push them on a given night, people might say 07. 07, when they dig deep, is a very, very dangerous team. And they're always trying to, but you've seen those moments when they're like, nope, 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 this is ours. Nope, nope. That was what they needed to do against Apex. I still think it's going to be probably 5-1 for Apex, but I would not be surprised if 07 gets out there and pushes hard. And by pushes hard, I mean
Hard.
looks at new strats, plays a really bunker ball when needed, bunker tanks when needed. Map picks are going to be key as always, because there's certain teams that do better on certain maps than others. And we don't know what's going on with Apex either. Are they going to look at 07 and say, well, they're struggling, we should automatically beat these guys? Which I really don't see happening, again, with comps and the rest of Apex and their professionalism. We'll highlight that too. All that aside, Saturday's going to be a fun match tonight as well, because we'll get to see more of the playoff picture solidify, more of who needs what and when. And then we go to two matches a night, which I like, because that means we get 2 broadcast matches a night. We get to watch them both, and we don't have any more what's happening in the off-broadcast match.
Right. Yep.
So if you guys are looking for players to pick for Saturday, go with the known ones. I think top tier Valence may go a little bit. Aquatic M60s versus Eclipse may go a little bit. Those be 2 matches I think that are probably going to be the safest investment. Tim, would you agree with or concur with that?
Yes, I would thoroughly agree with that. I'll probably end up putting more people in the Aquatic M60s versus Eclipse match, because that has more the tendency to go to a high damage, high points, 5-4, edge of your seat type of match.
Yep. Because you have Aquatic M60s that are playing their aggressive style they did from last season, but they're playing it a lot more carefully. When they commit, they commit. And they go all in, and they're not afraid to go all in. But they're not overcommitting. They're not going, we're just going to YOLO it. We're going to pull an L Gaming and YOLO in. They've been doing, Felix and Morphic have done a fantastic job with that. If you guys want to learn more about Aquatic M60s, go to Tank War Room and check out a profile that was just written recently. But one of the things you guys have to look at too is what places everyone are, because after Saturday's matches, we only have 7 matches left.
Yes.
7 match days left. That means essentially that we only have 3 to 4 matches left. So we'll be able to tell who's going to make it and who's not. So Valence really needs to make their move now and hope for some losses, consistent losses from certain specific teams. But right now we're dealing quickly just in pure guesswork and supposition. We have to watch the matches tonight. Tune in to watch, because I think tonight's going to be a fun night with 2 really good, potentially good matches. Would you agree, Tim?
Oh, I thoroughly agree. I can't wait for tonight. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Fortunately, I'll say I'll be able to be there on Saturday, and we'll be recording recording / streaming our next show on Sunday evening. But
More than likely, we'll let you guys know if that changes. Mainly due to my work schedule and some other things going on. But guys, thank you so much for coming by. We're a community show. Without a community, we don't have a show. So thank you all for coming by. If you're watching this on YouTube and it's a tape, make sure that you hit that like button, that thumbs up thing. And if you have any questions, be sure to put them
We
in.
forgot something, Ted.
Oh, the Ute.
Where is you?
Where is Ute? Yes. Well, I know where Ute is
Uh-oh.
because he's not that far in front of me.
Yeah, I noticed that. We'll see. I'm at 195 right now.
See, that's why Tim wants to talk about it. Ute is currently 25 places in front of me on 229, and that means that he's 30 places behind Tim right now, roughly.
Roughly.
Which makes Tim a very happy man.
Very, very much so. Ute is here at 229. It wasn't because he only picked 5. It wasn't only because he picked only 5 players time around.
No, he picked 7 players on Tuesday. I double checked with him because I didn't want him saying the only reason the people are beating me is because of that. But he confirmed he had 7 players for Tuesday. It was last Thursday that he had the supposed issue with the lock. He had some technical issues with trying to put in the last minute players, which should be an example, guys. Make sure that you're not dropping guys in the last few minutes because you never know what could happen. But Ute's incredibly dangerous in this game. I've got to try to find a way to pass him with because it's going to be if I can keep closing in on him, because I have been week in and week out. Ute and I have a friendly vote over a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, a friendly bet over a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, and I want to win that. My odds,
Not so good.
meh. Probably I have probably a 35 to 40% chance, simply because there's been consistent play from certain players, but every team is so solid that it seems like every week someone who's not picked that often suddenly steps up. Delth,
Yes.
no Nick, no skill.
That's why I always pick Delph, by the way.
Ninja, Dark Ninja, Mr. Man, when everyone said, "Oh, that won't be that big of a match," and he proceeded to go, "None shall pass" on steps. So, guys, make sure, please, watch the matches tonight. Follow, chat with the moderators. Have any questions? Ask them. They're there to help you out and keep things going cleanly in the stream. But guys, I'm super excited about tonight, and Tim and I will be talking to you more about it next week, probably Sunday. And Tim, anything else for the folks?
Nope. Seen one lineup change. Of course, at the Clips not playing Vetro on Saturday on their match on Saturday, which I believe means Master Pupil starting. I believe.
It makes sense. It would, because if you pull someone like Vetro, you need an active person who can deal damage, and that's people should be able to do that. One piece of news, I don't know if folks had known this. Mort is no longer with Eclipse. Simply life got busy, and he's now playing Silver League, I think, because the schedule is not nearly as rigorous
Yes.
as it is at Gold. So all the best to Mort. Fantastic player, great player, great guy. And but yeah, I just throw that out there real quick. And guys, have any questions? Fire it off at our Twitters. Our community shows Twitter. Tim checks that. Mine's BTED72. Tim probably has it somewhere around here.
Yeah, it's right up above your left
there?
side. Yeah, right. You just point exactly at it. Perfect.
Yes, pure guesswork. Guys, Tim, could you wrap us up again? Thanks for everyone for stopping by.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here without you guys. It's great to be back streaming, even though Twitch has issues. I'll put it that way.
Yes.
And what time do the matches start? Yeah, same as last season, Star. Yeah,
Hey, Star. Yeah, I don't have the stream open right now, primarily because it's raining cats and dogs and dinosaurs to you. We got 12 inches of rain by noon today,
Lovely.
so I'm trying to keep it light so that it holds. But seriously, yeah, the matches start at 5:30 Pacific time. I believe that's 8:30 Eastern time.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys tune in. It should be a lot of fun. And yep. Any questions from chat before we go, Tim?
I don't believe so. I could always get corrected last minute. Yes, Twitch is twitchy. But
That's true.
But as always, in the words of the great Christian Toma, thanks for stopping by.